What we've done, as I said, some of it's in the background. A lot of it's about efficiency of actually drawing and rendering the cross sections. Those of you who aren't familiar with the drill hole module, if you are, you'll know this already, but essentially what it does is it allows you to manage drill hole, bore hole, or well data in MapInfo Professional. It allows you to generate cross sections so that you can see a cross-section view of the drill hole traces, on top of which you can then display various different types of data, whether that's something like geochemical samples. It could be assay data displaying, gold mineralization, for example. It can be a rock type lithology. Various different types of information, all displayed on these cross sections. So I've got a drill hole project open in MapInfo at the moment. I'm just going to open the 3D window. Oops, and just remove that. So if I wanted to load some data in, I'm just going to throw my drill holes into 3D just to show you something that we can navigate around. So I have some data in 3 dimensions. Now, I would tend to use a series of left and right mouse button clicks combined with various keyboard shortcuts like Shift to move up and down and scroll around left and right with the left button, then zoom in with the right button, move up and down or back and forward with the 2 mouse buttons compressed plus the Shift button. So as you kind of get the idea, there's a lot of different keyboard combinations in here to smoothly navigate around in here. However, if I just move my mouse up to the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see this little navigation button here. Now, you're going to be familiar with this kind of almost straight away. I would imagine if you've used any of these before. I can grab the little view to arrow. I can move that around, and that takes me from the center point and allows me to look around where I'm looking at the moment, just like you'd expect in most of these 3D environments. I can use the zoom in and zoom out button. You don't have to move and click on and off. You can actually stay depressed on there, and the further away you move from that little center point, the faster you zoom in and the faster you zoom out. So there's some nice control built into this tool here, rather than just one speed only zooming in and zooming out. And the same applies with this tool here. If I just click in the middle, I can zoom up and zoom, or move up and move down rather, but the further away I go from the center point, the faster it moves. So once you get the hang of this, it becomes pretty easy to move around in 3D. I can move that way. I can rotate around the look at point this way. You can also speed up the movements by dragging this slider in the window. And just, again, now when I move around, it's much, much slower. You've got more control over this. So personally, I think this is a great improvement. The speeds used to be on the keyboards as 1 to 0. Unless you trudged through the manual, you probably would never have discovered that that was actually the case. So I think overall now it's a lot easier to use in terms of navigation. If I'm a user of this, or you're not an advanced user, you may need to start referring to the manual to find out how do you import a 3D vector file or a located image or a surface. Some of them can be done from the 2D menu, but a lot of the time you might need to come in here. What I can do now directly is through Explorer. I can either access Explorer through here, or I could go directly into Windows Explorer. In this case, I'm just going to use a shortcut here and go into my data set. And in here, I've got a topography file, height elevation data, but it's just a tab file. It has a grid file in the background, but I just want to drag and drop the tab file because I don't really know how to do this very well. I haven't used the software before, so I just want to put the tab file directly into 3D. And there we go. All I've done is dragged and dropped. Let's just close that. And it's straight in there in the relevant types. It's looked into the background. It's seen that that's an ERS file, so the software knows that that's a grid file that's meant to be displayed. It's looked at the tab header, found out that it's a grid file, and dropped it in. This works with polygon files, polyline files, etc. So as another example, if I just go through Explorer this time, I'll go into my topo file. I'm just going to go back and find some structure information. So I've got prospect structure here, so I've got some fault lines that I want to display in 3D. So I can just drag the tab file and drop it into 3D. Now at the moment, it doesn't know where to put them in terms of height, but it has determined that they're meant to be lines. Let's drop them in the window. I can just go to the properties and I can tell it to drape that over the topo file, which I loaded in. Click apply and go to the surface. And now if we zoom in, we can see those lines have been added. So that all just came directly from a tab file. So the software is getting more intelligent, essentially, so that the user doesn't have to think about so many things. They can just get on with opening up the data, doing the analysis, getting the results that they want without